All right. Yes, hello, my name is still Arthur. Thank you again for this committee. I really have to get this off my chest. I was, and Councilwoman Kalani will remember this, I was really upset by the city council's decision to move this to Sky Park. And that was the absolute source of my outrage. This was just like sprung on us, at the last minute. This is an essential aspect of our city and our history. And I felt compelled to be here in part because I needed to speak to that again. This committee, all the information that was just shared, if this had been done in September, August, then I would have understood. And Councilwoman Kalani shared at the Republican Assembly meeting in February this year, well, this is what was happening. This is why there were these considerations. And I also have to say there's a frustration too. When I confronted Councilwoman Kalani about this, she said, well, it wasn't just me who voted to change it, my colleagues. And I said, don't give me that crap. Yes, it was a little colorful, but part of leadership is you make decisions, you have to own those decisions. Leadership doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. We have to give everybody that grace. But part of that is, you know what? We jumped the gun a little bit. I shouldn't have voted for this. I should have voted something else. And this presentation precisely would have answered all of those questions. And this is the kind of process, I'm hearing so much about transparency, it's getting kind of tiresome because it didn't happen with this event, whereas we've heard over and over again about whether we should rename the park after Medal of Honor recipient Ted Tanui, or we should change the monument in front of Torrance High. And there has been so much attention paid to that, but it wasn't done for this. Okay, that can't happen again. And I think that we've heard all of these opportunities to learn from what happened and what we can do differently. This is a perfect setup. This is what you refer to from now on. This is how we're going to address issues when we're thinking about changing or tinkering with or winding down an event or some kind of celebration in the community. This is the way to do it. And I'm certainly hoping, Councilwoman Kalani, that you learn from this, because this is what I'm expecting as you serve as our next chief executive, as our next mayor. Because saying, well, my colleagues also went along with it, that's not acceptable. If you're going to take the lead, you got to own the decisions and you have to own the mistakes. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake, but just own it. The other thing too, I'm hearing all this stuff about traffic. I'm going to squeeze this in. I'm being a little facetious, but it still matters. Why not have the traffic commission looking into how to deal with all these parking issues? Figuring out how they can set up the streets, where they can set up the parking structures or the parking arrangements. There's an idea. And they should be doing that because that's an essential task, as opposed to looking into red light cameras, speed cameras, and other cameras which violate our rights. I have to put that in there. Let's get back to focusing on what actually helps and does good for the city. There's an idea there. And last of all, again, this is such an easy way to solve these problems. Don't make big decisions without giving us the facts ahead of time. Why was there the discussion about moving the parade in the first place? That's what needed to be addressed. And I can just push this in. I don't know if it was considered, but maybe having a memorial or commemoration for Ted Tanui and for Lou Zamperini in the Armed Forces Day Parade, having something more considerable. What a great idea. And there you have something that's active. And that would scratch the itch, if you will, of all the people wanting to maybe rename the park or maybe do something more with the Torrance High Memorial. Maybe that would be something better. That's a suggestion, and it wouldn't cost as much money either. And for the record, I just want to put this out there. I think we should go with option 3 at this point and not change any memorials at this time regarding Ted Tanui. He's been honored gratefully. I've gotten a lot of feedback from members of the community about this. We should put that aside for now. Leave the park alone and leave the monument in front of the city, Torrance High School alone. Thank you.